We're back. Canada wins gold. No, I'm kidding.
We hope not.
It could happen by this time, but by the time this airs, the Olympics will probably be over anyway. So I apologize. But go Canada, go.
Chris could probably superimpose some Canadian gear on us. Not like the 49. Oh, sorry, I should have mentioned that one. But Chris, you're brilliant. See if you can put red jerseys
last time
on us.
The show because he dissed the 49ers. So say goodbye. Anyways, back.
Go Argos.
Back to the local. Argos. Good grief. Back to local matters instead of football. We're talking about this is Nonprofit Appreciation Week as the time of the taping, so the time you see the show, it was just this last week. Nonprofit Appreciation Week is an opportunity for us to highlight nonprofit organizations and charities that are in our community that make the huge impacts. Something that we try to do each and every week on this show is to highlight organizations that like I said, provide the services that help donate the food, deliver the food for Food for Kids Halton and other organizations, to highlight not only the staff but the volunteers that are involved in there. And recently there was a group that was formed with the Community Development Halton, Risha and the rest of the team there. They've formed what's called the Impact Halton Coalition, and it's basically a coalition of organizations that are in the Halton region discussing issues that are Halton important, that are each region is different. As we know here, in Halton Hills, there's different issues as opposed to Milton or Burlington or Oakville. And people always, look at Halton region as an affluent community. Well, look at this, they've got wonderful homes like that. There's still a lot of need for charitable services. Food insecurity, mental health issues are just as prevalent in our community as they are in other communities, and they seem to go unseen. So this group of the Impact Halton Coalition, again through Community Development Halton, there's groups that are involved in it like Acclaim Health, the Canadian Caribbean Association of Halton, as we mentioned before, the Lighthouse for Grieving Children, Links to Care, Food for Kids, and like I said, run or led by the Community Development Halton organization. So I just wanted to take this time to sort of highlight some of those groups who have made huge impacts on our community, and one of them that I've been, if I can find it here, very involved with over the years. I had the honor of spending a number of years as a member of the board of directors for the Milton Community Resource Center, which is a child care organization here in Milton that helps provide affordable daycare services for families. But one of the important services that they do provide, and from its infancy, it was a closet in the office that turned into something that has helped serve thousands of people in the Milton community, and that's the Infant Food Bank. And what people do is they'll donate diapers, baby food, you name it, anything that a young family would need to take care of young children, because again, budgets are being stretched beyond belief day to day. Grocery prices are going up, and the staples in life, especially for young children, keep getting expensive, and diapers are expensive, and formula is expensive, and baby food. So the Infant Food Bank that MCRC has started, that has grown now to be able to service so many people, is one of the organizations and the programs that I wanted to highlight for Nonprofit Appreciation Week, because again, it's not just the staff that does it, it's the volunteers, and it's the community that makes the donations to these organizations that help us.
And some of the organizations are really well known, but there's a few that just don't seem to get any press. In Halton Hills, Georgetown, we have Links to Care. Mm-hmm. People have heard the name. They have no idea just how much work that they do and all the people that they benefit. But there's so many people that will, I guess, fall through the cracks, in our society. We need groups like Links to Care. We need groups like Community Living North Halton. Mm-hmm. That's for the disability. It's support services. And then the Halton region, I've got my list here. And Community Development Halton, and that's actually for all of Halton region. So my apologies here, Mike. I didn't have these things all standing straight out. But when you look at groups like Cancer Assistance, Halton Hills, used to be known as CASH, it's called Cancer Assistance. The people that are behind that, doing all the work, they don't get any notoriety, they don't get any recognition. They do it because they want to make a difference in Halton Hills. So I really support what you talked about with the nonprofit groups, leads into a lot of the charitable groups. If you ever want to get involved in something like that, for Milton, get in touch with Mike. For Halton Hills, get in touch with me. We'd be happy to connect you with the people that make a difference so that you can make a difference.
And that's the genesis behind the Impact Halton the coalition that has been formed, because it's these organizations that are within the community that are talking about the statistics, the people that they need to serve, what the needs are in our community, because they change on a daily basis. And again, the top ones are like mental health. The Lighthouse House for Grieving Children is a perfect example, because it helps deal in counseling young people who have had to deal with suicide in their within their family or their friends, and being left behind, leaving behind people who have tragically had committed suicide. So there's counseling services that are available, and each person is different. Counseling for adults is different than counseling for children, so that's why there's such a strong need for the Lighthouse for Grieving Children. So, and along with the other organizations in community development, Halton, so they're gauging. There's food security, so Food for Kids. Halton is another organization that collects food for children who are in need. They work with the schools who identify food insecurity issues with the students. They can bring food home for children over the course of the weekend, so that way, there's going to be something on the table for them, and obviously food helps in the aid of education and helping kids learn, and we don't want them to fall behind just because of a lack of food. So these types of organizations are critical for our growth as a community, and as our community continues to grow, so does its heart. That's why more and more of these organizations need to get highlighted, to get talked about, so that way if you're watching here or you're skimming through on any forms of the social media, you'll be able to say, oh, I've heard about that organization, I want to find out more, and how can I help? Because we have to identify as many champions in our community, and that's how it starts. Someone says, I want to help, and they reach out and get involved.
And Mike, I've talked to you a lot about this off air, and the need has grown tremendously. In some cases, the needs have grown so exponentially that, and the donations are not coming in. The volunteerism post-COVID has dropped, and we've seen that across the board. What we'd really like to see is that people, even if at this point in their life that they're not able to help out financially, they might have a few hours to be able to help out. Mike, you've seen it a lot here in Milton. I've become more aware of what's been happening in Halton Hills. And so I'm just encouraging people to take some time, learn about it. It's a really difficult time. You see the numbers from food banks, because that's been recorded and reported. So we see exactly what's happening at the food banks, but all the other things that are happening, you talk about mental health, you talk about the Lighthouse for Grieving Children. People don't see that, it's not day to day, but the need is great. And if you can help, again, like I said, reach out to myself for Halton Hills, reach out to Mike in Milton, and we'll be happy to point you in the right direction.
There's other organizations, and we can go on for a long time, and I'm sure, because the list is endless. The Big Brothers Big Sisters here that serves it's a grand area in the Halton region as well, and it promotes mentorship for young kids. And again, with everything that's going on in the world, there's I have a young daughter. There's questions, and we hear our young people talking, but they're uncertain about the future of what's going on. And I don't want to sound really gloomy or whatever, but things are changing, and there's a lot of questions. World activities. Is this war going to happen? Is this going to happen? What's going to happen south of the border, north of the border, anything else? So kids have a lot of questions, and again, dealing with kids, we want to make sure that there's mentorship that's provided for these kids. And Big Brothers Big Sisters is a great organization that does that. Adults, again, volunteers who just take a few hours out of their week to spend some time with some young people to whether it be sports or whether it be just sitting down and talking. And talking through a lot of issues. And I know sometimes with kids it's hard to talk to your mom and dad or your guardians about these things, and to a third party it does help. So a big shout out to the Big Brothers Big Sisters organization in Halton. There's also the Boys and Girls, the BGC Club of Halton, and as well as Peel, which is one of our, for Brampton, Mississauga, another great organization that involves kids, mentorship, brings them together, and gives them purpose and helps serve the community. So lots of great organizations that are in there. So if you Google Impact Coalition of Halton, you'll see a number of agencies, like I said, that are involved. There's great ways to get involved in regular meetings that come up. Again, find something that triggers you, find something that I want to make a difference in the community, and this is what I want to do. Reach out and get involved. The need is endless.
And I think I'd be remiss if I didn't also mention the service clubs that make a huge difference. And those service clubs, they're dialed in, they're tuned in, they know what's happening in the community. I used to be with the Kinsman Club. I love talking to the people at the Lions Club, the Rotary, the Optimists. These groups are doing a tremendous job in Halton Hills. You can speak to the ones in Milton, but if you're not sure, and you know people, because most people know somebody who belongs to one of these groups, talk to them. They can talk to you about the need and actually what their particular group is doing as a focus.
Yeah, the Rotary clubs, the Kinsman clubs, the Lions clubs, they're out there, and again, they do the tireless work, a lot of tireless work in our community. So as we're getting buzzed in the ear, there's maybe another gold medal for Canada, but it also calls to the end of Local Matters again for this week. So again, check out the websites, the Impact Coalition of Halton website. Congratulations to Mayor Krantz. Tickets will go on sale for the Community Foundation of Halton North's Legacy Night to honor Mayor Krantz. Congratulations and good luck on your campaign. And as we always say, when it comes to sports in Canada and the Olympics, I know it's going to be all over by the time this is on, but go Canada, go. And we'll be right back next week on Local Matters.